Imagine you're flying in a small plane and all of a sudden the pilot has a heart attack. You think that this sort of thing only happens on television? Well, think again. Tonight we're going to introduce you to a teenager from Camas, Washington, who found himself in that very situation recently.
And to make matters worse, the pilot with the heart attack was his father. We're going to find out exactly what happened. Good evening, David Gillen tells us about this young man and how he performed when his courage and poise were put to the ultimate test.
A small plane, nasty weather, and an unconscious pilot. It was the perfect recipe for disaster.
Well, my first thought was, now what am I going to do?
This is the story of a teenager who became a man in a matter of minutes, turned a tragedy into triumph.
I knew I had to do it, and if I didn't do it, then both me and my mom would have made it back, so I had to do it, and I did it.
As far back as he can remember, 18-year-old Rob Renner has been in love with aviation. It is a love he inherited from his father, George, a private pilot.
I got into flying really young. I started flying model airplanes, and then I moved up to the bigger ones. And then mostly because my dad, he got me into it because he gave me the flight lessons for my 17th birthday.
George Renner owned a 4-seat Cessna 182. In August, accompanied by his wife and son, he flew from Camas, Washington to Michigan to attend his high school reunion. On the second day of the journey home, minutes after the plane had lifted off from Ainsworth, Nebraska, George collapsed at the controls, stricken by a paralyzing heart attack.
Well, he told me that he wasn't feeling good, and then he kind of, spit out a little bit. And that was when I knew something was really wrong.
With his father unconscious, Rob got on the radio and declared an emergency.
Well, the first thought was to get the plane on the ground, get down as quick as I could.
Now, Rob had only had his pilot's license for 9 months, and he wasn't instrument rated, meaning he wasn't certified to fly in bad weather. And the weather in the Midwest that morning was pretty bad. With clouds hugging the ground and visibility poor, air traffic controllers refused to let Rob return to Ainsworth. Instead, they directed him to Rapid City, South Dakota, 120 miles to the north, where the weather was marginally better and the runway longer. Rob pushed the airplane to full throttle.
I kept, hoping to get there faster and faster, and I had the plane at 100%, and you usually aren't supposed to run it over 70. I knew I could get the plane on the ground. I was just worried about how my father was doing.
The 50-minute flight seemed to take hours, but finally the Cessna approached the Rapid City airport. Now there was a new problem. Rob had never before landed a plane from the co-pilot seat. The controls were unfamiliar.
I think they expected a big fiery crash because there was fire trucks and the ambulances all over the place.
Visibility was low. The plane would have to make an instrument landing. A flight instructor in the tower helped Rob with his final approach. The rest was now up to him. As emergency personnel held their breath, the Cessna neared the runway.
I thought I blew the brakes out. I stepped on them so hard because they were real spongy, but I guess they weren't. It was just me and the adrenaline at that time.
An ambulance rushed out to take George to the hospital. Relieved airport officials spoke glowingly of Rob's heroics.
I watched the entire approach with binoculars, and it was a beautiful landing. He landed right on the center line and stopped almost immediately.
He was the most calm and collected individual I have ever talked to on the radio.
Our story has a bittersweet ending. George Renner never regained consciousness and was pronounced dead at a Rapid City hospital. But the love of flying that he had passed on to Rob helped save 2 lives. The final gift from a father to his son.
I know he would have been proud of me.
Rob is a freshman at Clark College in Vancouver this fall, majoring in chemical engineering.
But one day he'd like to become a commercial pilot, and something tells me he probably won't have any trouble achieving that goal.
Next.